Okay, hello everyone. My peoples, where you at? My name is Mark. This is Why I Hate the World, and we have an extra special episode of Why I Hate the World today. We are going to be talking all about the Trump assassin, what we know about him, and some reactions and rumors and misinformation about him as well. So, yeah, in case you've been living under a rock, someone tried to kill Donald Trump. I'm sure you've all heard about it. It's been all over the news everywhere. I did a quick video reaction myself yesterday because it's just blowing me away how ridiculously insane this election cycle is. And now a little bit has come out about the shooter. So the first reaction that, of course, everybody got, especially on the right wing, was that this shooter was obviously a Democrat, obviously a liberal of some kind, a progressive, because please remember, according to the MAGA crowd, there is no difference between liberal, progressive, Democrat, or leftist, or communist, or anything like that. They're all the exact same thing when you talk to your average red hat wearing Trump guy. And it turns out reality had other plans. The guy does not seem to be a standard leftist, at the very least, but he is actually registered Republican. So his name was Thomas Crooks, 20 years old, from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Now, like all people, he doesn't exactly fit squarely into any category. He seems to be a Second Amendment sort of gun fetishist, gun nut type. He was subscribed to a YouTube channel that was really into guns called Demolition Ranch. I've actually seen this channel myself. Now, granted, the channel does not seem to veer very much into politics. The channel is all about just a guy shooting different types of guns, and he'll get some weird-ass gun and then he'll blow up like a cereal box with it or something like that. I don't know if you could call this dude a rabid right-winger, but that's not usually a thing that someone who is a quote-unquote liberal or leftist is really into. You don't really have a lot of liberals or leftists who are in that heavily invested into gun culture, so that's the first thing. Second thing, this guy was registered Republican. So he registered as Republican apparently when he turned 18 years old. And then the last time he voted was in 2022. That's what it looks like. That's the latest information that I have. So a lot of people are saying that, oh, well, he only registered Republican in order to vote against Trump in the Pennsylvania primary. But it looks like the last time he voted was 2022. Now, I could be wrong about that. Remember, there's still a lot of rumors flying around. That's the latest information that I have. So if it turns out that he actually did vote in this year's primaries, well, that could be the case. But as the information that I have now, it looks like he registered to vote as a Republican and voted as a Republican in 2022, which was when he turned 18 years old. This guy is only 20 years old. However, it's not that cut and dry, because apparently he donated to Act Blue, I believe, which is a democratic, progressive kind of group. They support some progressive causes, that kind of thing. I've actually donated to Act Blue myself. So does that mean that the guy was a rabid Republican type? I mean, obviously he wasn't a Trump supporter, or he wouldn't try to murder Donald Trump. But does that mean that he was a true blue Democrat? Not necessarily. I've seen lots of people speculate that he may have been an anti-Trumper, like a never-Trumper type. That's fine, but that doesn't mean that he's a straight-up Democrat. That's the thing that we gotta remember, right? And this is a distinction that the right wing doesn't make, is that political parties are not the same thing as political ideologies. A political party is a party. That is, they have party goals and they create a party platform, stuff like that every year, and it's different. The people that vote for them, however, most people don't neatly fit all the way into one camp or the other. Most people will have an issue or something that they really support. Like this guy, apparently it was the Second Amendment. And then other issues they don't really support that much. Like, so maybe he didn't really give a shit about things like abortion or something like that. But the Second Amendment he was really heavy on, so he votes Republican. Lots of people are like that. Lots of people, for example, using abortion as an example, lots of people vote for Republicans because they only care about abortion and they don't care about anything else. That's another reason why Republicans are losing lots of elections in the last couple of years, because the pro-abortion people made up a really big section of their electorate, and those guys already got what they wanted. So they're not turning out to vote in the same numbers they were before Roe v. Wade was overturned. That's just an example of how, in real life, people don't fit into nice, neat little boxes. Something you got to remember is that the right wing in this country, the MAGA people, the Republicans, the hardcore fascists, red hat wearing fascists, they don't make that distinction. If you're not one of them, then you're the enemy. That's how they think, and they lump liberals and progressives and Democrats and leftists and communists and anarchists and everybody who isn't one of them. They lump all of those people into the same boat, and this guy doesn't fit into that. It just doesn't fit. That's just, unfortunately, that's reality. The reality is he was a complicated person, like most people are. Appears to be a one-issue voter, but it doesn't look like the assassination attempt actually had a political motive. Doesn't really look like that. What I'm getting mostly from lots of commenters out here, mostly like the big narrative that I'm seeing from a lot of commenters and on the news, is that this may have been a suicide by cop kind of thing. Because this kid, and remember, at 20 years old in our society nowadays, you're still a child at 20, even though you're legally an adult. He fits the profile for what your average school shooter is in this country. Young guy, alienated, not the best looking person. There's interviews with his friends where the news have gone and talked to his friends, and they said, oh yeah, he was really quiet and he stayed to himself. And he was bullied, like repeatedly bullied really hard all through school and all that. And right at this age is a very dangerous time for people like this. Because when you're in high school, even though you may get bullied and all that stuff when you're in high school, most people have friends of some kind. Most people will have one or two friends. Something like that, even when they're in high school and they get their heads dunked in the fucking toilet every single day and their asses kicked by whoever. They might have at least a small friend group that they can hang out with, people they can get solace with, right? For a lot of people, when high school ends, that friend group goes away. Whether your friends go off to college someplace in some other state, or whether you go off to college somewhere, and it's really hard, is what it looks like. This kid wasn't in college. It's really hard when all your friends leave town and leave you behind, and you got nobody. That's kind of what it looks like here, and it looks like this guy, just young dude, didn't have a lot of prospects, not the best looking guy out there, probably didn't have a girlfriend. Stuff like that seems to fit the profile for your average school shooter kind of guy, your average mass shooter kind of guy. And thoughts of suicide and, whatever may be creeping into this guy's head. And then he sees a good way that he could go out in a blaze of glory. And if I got to go out, at least they're going to remember my name, that kind of thing. That's a big motivation for mass shooters, for school shooters, for that kind of thing. And that's what it's kind of looking like here. Now, please remember, the Trump people are not taking it this way at all. The MAGA people, no. According to the MAGA people, this is all a big, huge, giant conspiracy that this kid was ordered by Joe Biden himself in order to go execute Trump or whatever, which is complete and total bullshit. There's no truth to that at all whatsoever. I mean, that's the thing. I'm seeing lots and lots and lots of these types of misinformation getting passed around out there. So I want to show you guys a couple of things. This popped up on Twitter. This is from someone named Cheyenne Shadarzarith, I can't pronounce this guy's name, where you're seeing this pop up The thing is, this is not the shooter. This is a lookalike. So let's read this tweet. This is not a video of the shooter at Trump's Pennsylvania rally. This is the exact same ex-user who pretended to be the shooter in an odd trolling attempt. He posted this video an hour ago and quickly deleted it. It's now being shared as if it's a message by the real shooter. And if you look around, you can see all these different examples of various right-wingers posting this dude because they think it's really him, but it's not him. Video surfaces of Trump shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks from before the shooting. Here's another one. Dr. Simon Godek, this dude's an asshole. The alleged shooter, Thomas Michael Crooks, saying, "I hate Trump, I hate Republicans, and they got the wrong guy." Nevertheless, proof that too much mainstream media and consumption of too many seed oils are bad for you. Here's another one. OSINT Defender, photo of the shooter from today's Trump rally in Pennsylvania. That chin is looking rough. This is not him, remember. Laura Loomer, breaking. The shooter who tried to assassinate President Trump at his rally tonight is 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Remember, Laura Loomer is supposed to be a journalist, right? Yeah, journalist who didn't check her sources and posted the wrong thing. That's not him. This is not the guy. Here's the video of the guy talking, pretending to be the shooter. This is not the real shooter. Okay? YouTube and Twitch, I am debunking this video. Alright, but let's play it. It's only 9 seconds long.
Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy.
This is the thing, right? The shooter was killed at the scene. So this dude, whoever this guy is posting this bullshit, claiming to be the shooter, like saying what? That he shot Trump and then got away with it? If by some miracle that happened, why would you make a post on fucking Twitter, for fuck's sake, exposing who you were? Let's just imagine for half a second that this really happened and that this dude was the actual shooter and he managed to fire at Trump and get away with it without the Secret Service just fucking blowing his ass away. Why would he do that? Why would a real life shooter do that? Put his life in danger afterwards, especially when they shot someone at the scene. If they shot the wrong guy, wouldn't you just be like, hey, I got away with it scot-free? They're not going to be looking for anyone if they think the dude is already dead. It's obvious bullshit. Yet people like Laura Loomer were posting this stuff around because they're fucking partisan hacks who like don't actually do any research or don't even like pause and think for half a fucking second before they post something. Here's another thing I want to show to you guys. Trump supporters are already making fake Instagram accounts for Matthew Thomas Crooks, the alleged shooter. He was a registered Republican and gun enthusiast, but these accounts depict him as a leftist. Fake Instagram accounts. Using the fake photo of the fucking troll. There you go. There's 3 of them. Apparently, I really like this one. Like, what? Did he, like, post this one from the grave? Remember that this guy was killed at the scene. The shooter was killed at the scene. So, I guess he, like, I don't know, his ghost posted this picture of Trump. That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. This dude's name, by the way, this guy with the blue shirt on, his Twitter handle was Jew-gazing. If that tells you anything. Tells you the kind of people that we're dealing with here, right? So here's a couple of things I saw on Reddit. Now that we're looking at misinformation and stuff like that, here's some of the reactions I'm getting. Here's one from, of course, Green Text. I like the parental advisory. Biden incoherent, Trump losing his mind, Trump survives an assassination attempt, stands up for pictures, landslide incoming. Yeah, you know, folks, yesterday, when this happened, I kind of thought it was Jover myself. But now I'm not so sure. Now that I'm looking at the reactions that I'm seeing, people basically saying that this is not going to sway them or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's over till it's over. I mean, it's obviously not good for the Biden campaign to have this picture floating around like that. But whatever. Here's another thing that I wanted to show you guys. Here's Kid Rock, who is very angry about the whole thing.
You fuck with Trump, You fuck with me!
Yeah, we're all really scared, Kid Rock. Fucking idiot. We're all really scared. I guess he's gonna come to your house and shoot all your beer up or whatever. Barack Obama did this response. Let's read it. There's absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy, although we don't yet know exactly what happened. We should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery. This is the response of Gunther Eagleman to that. You are the reason this happened. You brought nothing but divisiveness when you were in the White House. I would just like all you guys to reflect on that. How the mental macaroni floating around in this guy's brain, which would lead him to the conclusion that someone going and shooting Donald Trump, who is the person that reintroduced violence into our political system, by the way, that was Donald Trump. Somehow that is Barack Obama's fault. I'm not exactly sure how that works, why anybody would think that this is something that is the fault of anybody but the shooter. But if we want to talk about politicians of encouraging violence, the person who encourages violence is Donald Trump. He's the one that basically made it okay to use violent rhetoric. He's the one that started doing it way back in 2016 and continued to do it. He's the one who excited a mob and tried to get them to invade the Capitol building and murder Congress. That was Donald Trump. Donald Trump did this shit. I'm sorry if you don't agree. For all of my Republican friends out there who are going to see this, because, you know, I always get like a few conservatives every fucking video that I make who are always come on and have to post 75 times in a row telling me that I'm an idiot and that whatever. That's fine. You can say whatever the fuck you want. But there is no denying this. You cannot sit here and tell me that it wasn't Donald Trump who brought violence into our political campaigning system. He's the one that started doing that. I would like to open a article for you guys. This is way back in 2016. Oh my god, fuck you. I guess I can't read this anymore unless I log in. But we can read the headline. That's all I really wanted to read. New York Times, Donald Trump suggests Second Amendment people could act against Hillary Clinton. Do you remember that? That was him that did that. It was basically what happened in that article. I can paraphrase it for you. Gee, I would like to read it, but fuck the New York Times. I'm not paying. Essentially, he was at a rally and he said to people, hey, Hillary Clinton is going to get activist judges in order to take away the Second Amendment. Which is, you know, kind of exactly what Donald Trump did, except with Roe v. Wade. And he said the Second Amendment people might want to do something about that. Essentially. Paraphrasing here, because I can't remember the exact quote. I think it was something like, the Second Amendment people might do something about that. I don't know. Something like that. Like, that's what he said. You know, they might do something about it. I don't know. He was alluding to murdering Hillary Clinton. And he made a joke out of it. He just laughed about it. That's what Donald Trump did this whole time. Here's another one from the New York Times. Are they going to let me read this? No, they won't. But that's okay. We won't have to actually read that one. Here is, I don't know if you guys remember, Donald Trump, when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked by a maniac with a hammer. This was Donald Trump's reaction to that. Let's go ahead and listen to what Trump has to say about Paul Pelosi being almost murdered.
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
Very funny. Very, very funny. See, someone tries to kill a Democrat, he's cracking jokes. Now we're supposed to be all afraid and indifferent when someone tries to kill him. Don't let them change the narrative, folks. You know, they're sitting here like, the one thing I'm seeing from all of the conservatives is that they're trying to turn this into a thing, you know, Joe Biden caused this, Barack Obama caused this. You already saw that one quote where the guy blaming Barack Obama. They kind of have to. They have to now. See, like I said yesterday, in my video yesterday, it doesn't matter who the shooter is. You know, we found out that the shooter was basically your average sort of incel, insane mass shooter guy who was slightly right-leaning. I mean, but it might as well have been like a pink-haired communist, according to these people, because they're still going to pretend that it was. The conspiracy theories are already out there now, that this was like an attempt by Joe Biden and the deep state and the Jews or whatever to like destroy Trump. Like, oh, they tried to put him in jail and they couldn't do it, and now they're going to try to kill him. I want to show you guys some other things. To show you how serious the Trump supporters are, this is changes to Wikipedia right after it happened. These have been taken down. Let's go ahead and read through this because it's actually kind of funny. On July 13th, 2024, Twitch political commentator and radical left transgender terrorist Destiny fired a single shot from a 9mm handgun at former President of the United States, Donald Trump. However, due to the attempted assassin's low testosterone count on account of copious quantities of soy consumption, he lacked the muscular strength to keep the firearm steady and was knocked backwards, landing on his buttocks, which caused severe hemorrhaging of his rectum due to the shooter's riding with Biden TM butt plug being propelled into his rectal cavity during Zim's fall. See, it's a giant fucking joke to these people. This is obviously some 4chan troll posting all this, and you can already, but the thing is, you can already see out there in conspiracy world and leaking into the mainstream conservative punditry all of the stupid dog whistles and jokes that this guy is writing here. Luckily, I mean, this is an obvious troll though, so this got taken down. Let's go ahead and move on. This is the actual shooter, and you can kind of see he looked like that one fake guy. This is the actual shooter. Yeah, not the best looking dude. You can kind of see, you can just sort of look at him. It's like, yeah, he's a fucking school shooter. Right. Shooter was a registered Republican wearing a Demolition Gun Club shirt. He also used an AR-15. The gun Republican congressman wears pins to support mass shooters. The irony is off the charts. So when you hear them say that this was a Democrat or whatever, or this was a communist that did this or something like that, which is already happening, please remember this is the reality. It was a young, confused, probably suicidal, probably incel kid who was obsessed with guns so much that he bought merch from a gun channel. The Demolition channel, by the way, those guys have no fucking clue who this dude is. I went on their Facebook, they're like losing their minds. They're like, we can't fucking believe this. The guy that runs the Demolition gun channel does not appear to be an insane right-winger. I don't know. I mean, I only browsed around it because of this. I mean, I have actually seen his channel before, but he makes videos about weird guns. He has a video about a ring, like, that fires bullets, and another one about a glove with a pistol on it that you, like, punch somebody and it shoots a bullet or whatever. Like, that's the kind of content they make. And yeah, maybe the dude's maybe he's like a slight redneck or whatever, but he's not like an insane fucking militia guy or some shit like that. You know, stocking up on bullets and like fucking cans of like soup and shit for the end of the world. He's not like one of those dudes. He's just like a regular guy. So yeah, they're just as much as in awe as anybody else. I don't think they had anything to do with radicalizing this person, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, not all of the reactions I'm seeing are positive. Here's one from Reddit. You can just read that for yourself. I'm not going to read it. I just want to say that no, violence is not good. Violence is not the answer. It's never the answer. Under no circumstances should you engage in violence of this or any other type. Like I said in my last video, it's always counterproductive. I know that there are leftists out there who take issue with me. If you're the kind of person who believes that violence, like this, political violence gets results and you should engage in it, stop watching my channel. I'm serious. I don't want to have anything to do with you. If that's what you believe, if that's what you support, if you're A-okay seeing something like this happen, no. The time for violence is self-defense and self-defense only. And we are not in that part of the fascist takeover of our country where it's justified in using violence. Who knows? Maybe if Trump wins the election, someday we might get to that point. Someday we might have to in order to stop genocide or something like that. But right now, I cannot condone this type of political violence. It's not right. It's never right, in my opinion, until it becomes survival. And then that's when it's right. That's when you can morally engage in it, is when you're fighting for survival. We're not fighting for survival. We are fighting for who gets to be the president of the United States. No, not at that point. And anybody out there who thinks we are, you're deranged. Right? Do not engage in political violence. Okay, let's turn this back on because I got more stuff to show you. Already starting to see the memes popping up. And, this is kind of what's going on right now as far as memes and that kind of thing. Right? Why would the Democrats do this? Yeah, it wouldn't be funny if it wasn't true. Because this is what I'm seeing from people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, from basically any kind of MAGA person. This is exactly what they're trying to shape the narrative to. It would have worked if this guy didn't register as a Republican, if he wasn't a gun fetishist person. If he was an actual Democrat who was like a Biden supporter, or was also, if this person was not white, they probably would have gotten away with it. The mainstream media would have just gone with it and wouldn't do any investigations. And there probably would be retaliation. Hell, there still might actually be retaliation. Who knows? Hopefully there won't be. That's the thing. That's all it takes, by the way. It's probably already still going to happen, but the mainstream won't buy it. They'll still be able to radicalize their own people even more, of course. It's fucking ridiculous. Let's move on. A couple of others. This is Blair White. Donald Trump took a bullet for this country. If you're voting for anyone else, you can go fuck yourself. That's where I'm at. Yeah, Donald Trump did not take a bullet for us. Let's just keep that in mind. He did not take a bullet for you. He did not take a bullet for anybody. He was shot at because of a political environment of his own making. Donald Trump, as far as my opinion goes, he kind of gets some of the blame for creating this kind of environment in the first place, for encouraging violence from his followers. There was a time when this would have happened. I mean, even in 2008, 2012, it never would have got this far. Do anybody remember back when John McCain was running for president? And when he gave his concession speech after he lost to Barack Obama, people were pissed. And someone in the audience was like, fight! And all this stuff, screaming at him. And then he was like, no, everybody calm down. And then, there was this point where this one lady was like, Barack Obama is like a traitor and a communist and all that. And John McCain stood up and he defended Obama. And he said, no, he's not. He's an American like all of us, and he'll make a good president. John McCain said that to his own people. John McCain stood up to the radicals and the crazy people in his own audience and said that. Does Donald Trump do that? No. Donald Trump fucking makes jokes. When an insane person watches too many of his fucking rallies and then goes and breaks into Nancy Pelosi's house and tries to murder her husband, does he say, hey, you fucking people have gone too far? What is this shit? Stop doing this? Does he do anything like that? Has he ever told people to walk it back that wasn't like a half-assed fucking tweet. That's the only way Donald Trump tells anybody to calm down. He just, stop it. Just stop it. It's like, fuck you. These people will do whatever the fuck you tell them. Get up there on TV and tell them to fucking quit the violence. Does he ever do anything like that? No. He makes jokes about it. Well, yeah, you know what? I bet he never thought the leopards would actually eat his face, huh? Fucking bullshit. Okay, here's some good advice here. This is from Ed Krasenstein. Anyone blaming Trump for this is wrong. Anyone blaming Democrats for it is wrong. Anyone blaming Republicans for this is wrong. Anyone blaming Biden for this is wrong. Individuals are responsible for their own actions. Yes, they are. But at the same time, there are people who incite violence. Yes, individuals are responsible for their own actions. Yes, nobody can go to jail for someone who commits a crime except the person who commits the crime. This is true. But we need to acknowledge that people like this, people who are slightly off their rocker, they get radicalized. They get influenced. And we need to acknowledge that politicians are a big influence on people. So when a bunch of your people show up and try to hang your vice president and overthrow the country because you told them to, what is this guy supposed to think? We need to hold people accountable for what they do. That's definitely true. We can also need to hold people accountable for inciting violence. I'm sorry, that's just the fucking truth. Donald Trump is just as, is he responsible for a crazy person trying to murder him? No. But he created the environment for it. He should have some responsibility for creating the polarized, insane environment nowadays where somebody would even consider doing something like this. Some reactions from 4chan. Lefties can't aim, can't make this shit up. Keck. Please remember, the guy did not appear to be a leftist. Just, you know how much he donated to Act Blue? He donated $15 in 2021. He donated $15. He wasn't even 18 yet. So if I donate $15 to some group, that just completely means that I'm like a radical, insane communist. Is that what it means? Get the fuck out of here. Okay, Angry Sappher. Shooter was 20-year-old registered Republican wearing a Demolition Ranch t-shirt. That kind of throws a big wrench into the Biden did this narrative. Yes, it does. And, every time you see somebody posting on Facebook or on Twitter or on any other social media that the Democrats and Biden tried to murder Trump, you need to respond with the actual truth. You need to respond with that. It's up to us in order to stop misinformation. It's up to us to actually push back and be like, no, that's not what fucking happened. This guy was not like an operative of like the deep state. Joe Biden didn't hire a hitman. He didn't send like an army sniper to go kill Trump. He didn't do anything like that. That's bullshit. And then, another thing to remind them about is that if Biden did do it, according to the Supreme Court, he'd be fucking immune. Let's not forget that part. If Biden did want to assassinate Donald Trump, the Supreme Court has basically said that's A-okay. He would have to be impeached first before he could go to prison for it. I'm sorry, Republicans out there in my audience, pissed off Republican MAGA people who watch my videos. I'm sorry, but it goes both fucking ways. You don't like that? Talk to the Supreme Court. It was all great and fine, wasn't it, last week? When you guys were all like celebrating the fact that Trump was going to be a fucking king if he wins the election. You're forgetting who the actual president is right now. Here's another one, and this is actually from Morgan Freeman. Why do I think Trump just faked an assassination attempt? And you know something? Guys, you gotta remember that we as Democrats, as progressives, as leftists, even though I know most of my audience are probably not actually leftists, but still, if you are, please remember that even though we are more informed politically, that does not mean we are immune to conspiracy theories. Because I am seeing this all over the fucking place. On every social media I go to, on YouTube fucking comments, on YouTube videos, on TikTok, on 4chan, everywhere. I'm seeing people who are not like Trump supporters saying that this was fake and it was staged. And that picture of Donald Trump shaking his fist with blood on his fucking face, that was like staged. And I want you guys to just think about it, okay? It's not staged. There is no conspiracy. All right. Just think about it for half a fucking second. What would that actually mean? That would mean that Donald Trump somehow paid someone to commit suicide, to almost kill him, and then die. Because you have to know that if you are going to try to assassinate a politician with Secret Service protection in this country, you have to know that they're just going to blow you away, right? You know that they don't arrest assassins. They're not going to even try to arrest you. They will kill you the moment you start firing. And that's exactly what happened. The kid got off a couple shots, and then they instantly, within like fucking half a second, saw where he was, fired back, and fucking blew his ass away. And then that was it. Blew his fucking head off, and he was gone. He must have known that was going to happen. So where does the part come in where Donald Trump fakes it? How is that a thing? How is that what? Did they brainwash somebody? Was that like a dummy up there or something like that? Was it not real? Was it like an android or something like that? Was it somebody that it was like a Manchurian candidate? Or was it just a Trump supporter who was so fucking fanatical that he was like, yes, Donald Trump, sir, I will die so that you get a temporary bump in the polls? Because that's what I'm actually thinking now. Looking at the reactions I'm seeing out there in social media and just everywhere, I don't think it's over anymore, the election. I did yesterday. I did yesterday when I thought that this might have actually been a leftist or a Democrat or something that pulled this trigger. Now I'm not. Now it's like, oh, it's one of their own. They're going to have to roll it back. Because normal people aren't going to fucking buy it that it was an assassination attempt by the deep state. And now I think what's going to happen is that I think he'll probably get a temporary bump in the polls, is what I think is going to happen. Kind of like another bump, like he got a bump because of the debate, and that bump is already starting to go away. You know, there's already like Joe Biden is starting to recover. It only took fucking 2 weeks, which is admittedly fucking abysmal. But Biden is starting to recover, and then right when he starts to recover, some fucking maniac tries to shoot Trump, and now Trump's going to get another bump. But I don't think it's over anymore. I don't think that he's automatically going to win. Like I did 24 hours ago, I thought that was it. It's over. He's going to win. Not so much anymore. I think we're in a very polarized environment where this isn't going to do it. I don't think it's going to change anybody's minds. I don't think people who didn't vote for Trump in 2020, I don't think suddenly they're going to change their mind and just be like, you know what, I'm going to vote for him now because he almost got killed. Like, I don't know, maybe some people might do that. Maybe some people might react that way. I don't think that's going to happen. I think I may have overreacted yesterday. And I think that fucking Biden still has a chance. One more of these, just to kind of show you. I'm going to give you one more from Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is to kind of show you how they're trying to spin it. This is from Marjorie Howler Monkey McFucking Chicken Finger. We are in a battle between good and evil, all in caps. The Democrats are the party of pedophiles, murdering the innocent, unborn, violence, and bloody, meaningless, endless wars. They want to lock up their political opponents and terrorize innocent Americans who would tell the truth about it. The Democrat Party's flat out evil, and yesterday they tried to murder President Trump. Now, we were talking about inflammatory rhetoric a few minutes ago that incites violence. That's what this is. This is her inciting violence on the Republican side. Look at what she's saying here. Evil, violence, bloody, meaningless, endless wars, all this shit. They tried to kill President Trump. They. Who's the they in this? What? A 20-year-old kid from Pennsylvania? So you gotta remember, right? Low information voters are always going to take shit like this at face value. And there is no chance of convincing her or her constituents of the truth. But you need to push back on this kind of thing. When you see this, when you see your friends and your family reposting shit like this on Twitter, on Facebook, whatever, push back. Reply to them, no, this is not a conspiracy. No, this was a 20-year-old kid. No, he was a registered Republican. Don't believe this bullshit, Grandma. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to get people killed with this kind of shit. It'll be another mass shooter who will also be another gun fetishist, just like all the other fucking mass shooters are. How many mass shooters are, like, ever from the left side of the political aisle? I think I could mention one. There was, like, one, like, 5 years ago that I can think of who was genuinely a leftist. It was like a Korean kid, if I remember right, who, like, shot up a mall or something. Like, that's it. Even, like, the instances where, like, the mass shooter, it turns out to be, like, a trans woman or something, or a trans man, stuff like that. Even those people are not who you would call leftists. Of course, just being a trans person is all it takes to be a leftist, according to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. So please remember that. Please remember that. You know, the conservatives and the Republicans, they just think about identity politics. That's just how they see the fucking world. And if you're not one of them, you're their enemy. And, you know, if you're gay, if you're trans, if you're whatever, as long as if you're not a white Christian conservative who, like, has a gun stuck up his ass or whatever, if you're not that, then you're automatically a fucking communist. So keep that in mind. That's the way they see it. Real life is not really like that. And don't let them get away with it, I guess is what I gotta say. Stop misinformation at the source. It's up to us in order to keep this stuff from spreading. Push back on it. When your crazy conservative uncle or your wacky fucking neighbor who still has the Trump 2020 flag from fucking 4 years ago because he's too cheap to buy a new one or whatever, when that guy starts spouting a bunch of bullshit, push back on him. Because the truth fucking matters. This is really the most important election of our lifetime. And I know we always say that. This is the last thing I'm going to end on, you guys, right? I know lots of people out there are tired of that, but it's actually true. This is it. All the other times where we said it was important, yeah, those elections were important. This is the actual, real, most important election of your lifetime. If Donald Trump wins, then fascism wins, and you can kiss the United States goodbye. And it's important to push back on their bullshit narrative to make sure that doesn't fucking happen. If you can't donate your money, you don't have any money, you can't donate your time, you don't have time, that's fine. You can be an activist in other ways. Even if just being an armchair activist, even if it's just you at home pushing back on misinformation and phony baloney media narratives from right-wing lunatics like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that matters. That helps. Anyway, folks, everybody stay cool, stay safe, and I will talk to you all later. Adios. Hello, folks. If you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.